Okay, it's starting now. So I just wanted to ask you first of all, because like I don't know you that much, but I've heard that you do work. So, so where do you work? How many hours a week you do? Just something about you in general.
Okay, so I guess I'm a mature student, so I'm 31. So I'm in a slightly different situation, I guess, to a lot of people who might possibly be supported by parents. However, I didn't go to university when I was younger, so I do have a student loan, and I do have a loan from the government loan that pays for the fees. So I have got that covered. So I have got the whatever it is, 11,500. As far as working goes, it kind of has varied across the year. So last year I got the exchange to New York, in which we were told you're going to need about 10 grand, and you obviously can't work when you're out there. So I had a few months to save, or like whatever it was, 5 months or whatever it is, to save £10,000 essentially. So last year I was working like 50 hours a week on top of uni for like the first part of the year, the first semester or whatever, the first term.
And what type of job is it again? I'm sorry.
That was restaurant work. So it was just, yeah. So prior to working in, prior to going to university, I worked in a flavour lab. I worked with sensory experience, etc., which was played out in restaurants, and I was a chef. So I went back, and I'm lucky enough to have lots of friends in that industry, so I can go and work quite easily in that industry. So during that time, I was doing a lot of hours, as many as possible, really. We opened a new restaurant. But normally, it has varied a lot during the 3 years. So like obviously in the summer terms, I just work in hospitality as much as possible. And during term, it varies. Like obviously at the moment, because that industry has been completely crushed by the pandemic, I've had to we obviously got sent home early from New York, so I had money that was saved from the time that I did a lot of work before. So I've used that to fund the work that I can't have at the moment. So at the moment, I'm not working, but that was only from when the second lockdown happened. When I came back from New York, I was still doing not a lot, like 2 shifts a week or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So, what did I want to ask you? I just wanted to ask you how. So you said you were working quite a few hours as well at some point, also during the term. So, has that affected your attendance or your grades in uni?
I think for the time that I was doing a huge amount of hours, for sure. I think definitely. And I think that was down to, and I saw the difference in grades because I moved from working a like kind of stable amount because I planned for that, or planned the money for that, like prior to university, to working a lot of hours because New York was kind of unplanned. And for sure my grades dropped, and I think that's primarily down to I guess just being really tired. I think it wasn't like unable to like manage time or anything like that, which I also can recognise can be difficult. It was literally just down to being really, really tired, and then not being able to like process group work and etc. really well, because it was about like communicating with other people. And I found that quite difficult when I was really tired.
Yeah. So I guess it happened to you, like, I don't know, sometimes it does happen to me because I work around 20 to 30 hours during the term. And obviously, when we don't go to uni, I do as much as I can, which is up to 50s, like you said. So as it happened that maybe you were coming home from work and you just were completely exhausted, and you just couldn't go on your laptop or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I guess in some ways I've come from an industry that I have. When I was a lot younger, when I was working as a chef, I was working in some of the like very good restaurants, and so we were doing 100 hours a week, and so I came from an environment that was probably a lot more intense than doing the stuff that we do now. So although the quality of it definitely wasn't as good as what it is when I have slept, I don't think I ever really had a problem with like getting into it, because my motivation for being at university is like pretty strong, and I've actually wanted to go to St. Martin's since I was about 14, and this is so like the idea of not doing, I don't know, like the work and stuff is like I wouldn't not do it, but the quality of it was definitely like not as close as what it should have been if I was fully awake.
And how did it happen that you, because you just said you always wanted to go to St. Martin's, and how is it possible that it took so long? I mean, am I saying that in a wrong way? I'm sorry if I do.
For me, basically, when I was younger, I started travelling when I was about 16. I did interrailing when you went round or Europe with a train, and I came back to Oxford, my city, and I kind of was frustrated with the fact that there was lots of people around me who had a lot of very strong political opinions but had never been to the countries or had never experienced the world. I was like a dinner lady in one of the Oxford unis, so I could like hear all these people talk, all these students, 19-year-olds, and I was like, I want to understand who I am and what I am and the planet that we live on. And for me at that age was like that, okay, so I'm going to go and travel. So I spent 2 years traveling around the world instead of going to university at that age, and then came back and then like obviously needed to make money. So I moved to London and started working in hospitality, and then moved to like a flavour lab, and then I loved that work. And so I think that was just where the time went. I just found something else that I was really interested in. And I did like various other big like traveling trips and stuff. And then when I was about 28 something, I decided that one of the things that I've really, really wanted to do, since I was younger, was go to St. Martin's, and so I applied and got in. So
that's really interesting, actually. It's a really interesting story, because with me, like, I am a bit older student as well. I am 25. So I had this idea of wanting to go to London always, since when I was younger. So I just wanted to see something different from my small town where I came from. So I think I can quite relate to that a little bit.
So what? And you just applied to? Well, yeah, because you're 25 now, so you must have applied when you're 21, 22.
Yes. So basically, I came to London when I was 19, and then I worked in hospitality for maybe 3 years or something, and then I was like, okay, I think I need to get back into education or find something else, because after a few years, like, okay, I do like hospitality, I like customer service, but sorry, no, he's not here, love. My husband just came in. So I really like customer service, but I was like, in Italy I did study art, and I really like that, and I feel I need to do something about it, rather than, just being here and serving pints. Yeah, that was basically all. So do you think that because of your work, you had less opportunity to socialize with other people? Like, has it happened to you that maybe at some point, I don't know, maybe outside uni, someone asked you, okay, let's go and have lunch together or do something together, and you had to say, oh no, sorry, I have to run to work?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that affected my relationships with other people in university that much.
Yeah.
But there's probably other factors in the fact that I'm 10 years older than most people. So there was also a bit of like disconnect as far as that's concerned. So probably that's probably a bigger factor in that kind of situation than having to go to work.
Yeah. And has it happened to you that you ever had to take your university at work because maybe you had a lot to do, or I don't know, does it happen that you are at work and you think about the university projects and stuff?
Oh yeah, 100% all the time. And I was again like quite lucky in that I am friends with a lot of the people that I work with. So as soon as there's time in the day that I can do work or anything like that, then I just do work, because especially in like industries like that where it's quite time based, it's service, etc. So yeah, 100% they cross over, and I would always be prepared. Like I'd always be preferred to be doing the university stuff, right? Because that's what we're working so hard for. But yeah, they definitely cross over.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you a more personal question, actually, in terms of your expenses, because you said you do get a maintenance loan or anything like that. Do you? Yes. So are you paying a rent as well?
Yeah.
Yes. So how is that working out? I mean, how does it feel like when it's rent day, and are you stressed about money or anything?
I feel like I always am a bit nervous about money, obviously, because that's a scary situation. But I feel quite well prepared. Like because I recognised that I was going to be in this situation, I've been quite strict, and I have budget, so I know that I'm going to spend whatever 30 quid a week on food and etc. And I'm quite good at keeping to them, because I know that if you don't, you're in trouble. So I don't. It doesn't really stress me out that much. I guess because I guess I keep to the organisation I have around money. I think if I wasn't organised with the money, then yeah, it would definitely stress me out a lot more. And it stresses me out like finishing uni is obviously, that's also a bit scary, because you're not going to have the student loan or whatever. But obviously in London, I guess it's made it slightly easier because like during this last year, because we're not going out as much, etc. But I don't feel really stressed out about it, because I feel quite organised with it.
Yeah, and I think also if you have worked for many years, you know better how to manage them. You learn as you go, I guess, even with that. Because maybe some weeks you take less hours, and other week you fill it up a little bit more, depending also on how it goes with uni.
Yeah. And I guess that I feel quite lucky in the position that because I had the career before, I can also get paid quite well for a day's work. So I can then just jump in, and because I know people within that industry, I can say, okay, has anybody, I can message a bunch of people and be like, has anybody got a couple of shifts? And their friends are like, yeah, cool, let's, so my motivation, because I have at university money, I guess, like I know strong. I have to sacrifice some time that would have been given to university, but I do feel lucky that, I guess because I had a prior career that, I had access to making money quite easily.
Yeah. And when you work, do you have to travel quite a lot to go to work, or is it normally close to you?
No, they're not that close actually, but I cycle, so so it's not really that difficult for me, because I've always I'm pretty much, I'm from Oxford, but I've always lived in and out of London, so I know London really well, so like cycling around London isn't that much of an issue. But yeah, I definitely have to travel for work.
Yeah. Okay, because I was gonna ask you if you study while you travel, but that's not an option then.
No, I mean sometimes I like try and listen to things, but I always feel a bit guilty for having like earphones in or whatever. So I would like sometimes listen to a podcast or a radio thing that would like has some sort of relevance. But I also think it's actually beneficial to university to have like a bit of time like it's separate to it. And quite often if I've done a really busy work environment and then go back to a school environment, that's can be beneficial because it gives you a break where you can't think about uni if it's a really like intense shift or something. You don't really have the space to, and then when you go back you're like, okay, I can think about things differently. So I think it can be beneficial to like have different environments that you can jump in and out of.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Actually, I am at the moment on holiday because I have to use my holiday before the end of the year and all of that. So I've been on 2 weeks holiday. I still have a week left, and I am just like dragging around the flat.
Yeah.
Like, please give me something to like. Okay, university has got like a lot of work to do, so I have something to do